Howdy, and welcome back to my Let's Play series. This is Casey, and this is episode 16. I am playing Feed the Beasts again, or still, and it's time to upgrade my boat some more. So, something that I've been doing that I've had a problem on the back burner for a while is that my dredge back here isn't as efficient as it could be. And it has a problem when it's in deep water that it brings water blocks up with it. So I've had a couple different ideas in mind to try to fix it, and today I'm going to work on one that's going to fix that, as well as increase the amount of materials I get per cycle of the dredge. So the simplest way to do that for anything that's built on uh, block breakers on a frame is just simply to expand the bore head. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to add more frames here and add another layer of block breakers underneath there, so that they will be tube frames. Actually, redstone tube frames, let me be clear, so that they can activate the block breakers, collect the items from them, and funnel them into the ender chest, which takes it to the sorting machine. The idea is that if I break the water underneath here, then any water over top of here should be... Let me see if I can think this right. Instead of there being water source blocks right up against here, and there being water source blocks that get propagated into here, then if there's a layer here, those should be... Let's see. Anyway, I'm hoping that instead of having water source blocks, I will have flowing water blocks instead, and that they won't propagate as far... Hello, Daisy. That they won't propagate as far up the bore head as the water currently does. So for that, I need 7 more block breakers, or a multiple of 7, and 7 more redstone tube frames. And as well, by however deep this bore head is, also is however far forward the boat moves every time I want to dredge again. So by increasing this by at least 1 line, and I may add 1 line here, then start adding lines to the back to just simply increase my productivity with the dredge, then I will be able to gather more resources and hopefully have less issues with withdrawing the dredge in open water. So I made up some more brass. I'm going to need, let's go with 16 for now. And I need to make some block breakers. There's a space apparently in there. So since these are all relatively mundane stuff, I'm going to edit out my making of the 14 block breakers. I'll be right back with you in just a moment. And while I was in the process of making it, I realized I was really low on redstone, so I'm just going to go down the bore that I already made and grab some redstone from the lower Z levels. Be back in just a moment. Okay, I'm back, and it occurs to me that I don't have any covers for this, but I can at least get the basics down for now. So just take the covers off of those. I'd like to grab as many of those as I can. That's 6, should be a 7th one somewhere. Not a huge deal, I mean. Let's see. Take half of these and just mount them like so. And then I take about half of the block breakers and mount them going straight up so that they turn around and face me, because I don't want to be bothered to go back and actually get the sonic screwdriver to fix that. So now I just need to cover these with panels, and I'll need to go back and grab more panels, or covers I should say, since I don't want stuff sticking to them. There's the last one. But I'll go off camera and cut me some more covers, as well as do the same to the back here. And I may just cheat and move the entire boat forward so that I'm standing on top of soil before I move here. And one last thing that I actually need to do is, since my dredge is now 5 wide instead of 3 wide, I can set my generic move command to step forward 5 steps. So that way, every time I run the move program, are we actually moving? I may not have updated the redstone config files. So it may be going back to the limit of 1000 frames, which I am very, very much over top. So I will go check my config files and get back with you and try it again. And I believe I found the problem. I had a torch in the middle of my smokestack to keep monsters from spawning there. And since the torch was in between 4 of the red storage blocks for Zycraft, and on top of a smoker, it never actually touched any frames. So, gotta figure out some way to get that lit up so that monsters don't spawn there, or fill that in with something. But in the meantime, there she goes. And once the boat is moved forward, I will be able to, and I forgot completely about water. Oh well. I'll just have to be creative. I'll be able to, if I don't fall off of a cliff, just go ahead and clear those off. And I made about 3/4 of a stack of those stone brick covers. Yeah. So just need to put these in place. And just go down here and put the block breakers underneath here. This is a little bit nerve-wracking. I'm glad I have a jetpack. I'm not sure why I'm doing this the hard way. So just go through here, and since I literally only have those 2 cobblestone, I'll grab those back. And just did the exact same over here. And that's actually the block breakers destroying the water there. So if this doesn't work to keep that, then I'm going to basically try some very overly complicated way of destroying the water on top of the block as I go back up, which sort of this sort of ignores one of my own rules of making frame mechanisms so that they cannot possibly destroy anything you care about. But I think I could probably be safe. Always like having frame mechanisms be sort of programmed mechanically, as it were. Like this one actually, as it goes down, it puts more blocks in this column here, and this column here is basically hits this to act as the going up stop. Bedrock very obviously keeps it from going too far down. So now that that is done, I should be able to just, once I'm not putting panels on things, type in dig, and without any changes to the programming, I have now, let's see how that, because that's a cover, but this will actually stick. So it looks tentatively like that new row of frames and block breakers there is actually keeping water from touching this. So I'm going to knock on wood and say, at least whenever there's not water coming from the forward direction, which is not always the case, because once I get out from this sandbar, that may change. But at least for this specific circumstance, it looks like that solves my issue with the bringing the water back up with it. And I really only care about this side and this side bringing back water. If the back side brings up water, whenever this gets destroyed by the block breaker there, then that'll just disappear. Won't be pretty, but... And let's actually see how my inner chest is doing with all that influx of... So that's with 5 rows of 7, which should be 35, yes. 35 block breakers per cycle. So it's not doing happily, but it's, hey, it's working. So our cobble just finished. So the cobble is now being sorted and is going to the blue overflow, which should now go into the recycler. So the recycler is now spinning up. So let's see. And that should be able to hold 6... Holy crap, that's going to get filled up fast. 6 stacks of cobble. So the issue is going to be how this handles it whenever it overflows. It seems to gamely be trying to keep up, but it's not going to be able to. Maybe I spoke too soon. Nope. It just finished, so now it's bouncing back. It's going through here. Trying again. I'm not sure if that's actually jamming it up or not. In theory, if it can keep bouncing back and forth until this clears up, should be good. I'm going to sit here and watch it just to see if it doesn't break. I mean, regardless of what that's doing, the inner chest itself emptied out. So it looks like this has now become the backlog. And what I could do is add not a hopper, but one of the Redcraft machine or Red Power machines inline here. I think like the filter or something that would hold 9 stacks instead of the 5. But I'm not really that worried about it. That would require to have, I believe, some sort of red pulse. I could just be entirely mistaken there, while the hopper is dumb, but we'll just insert it on its own volition. And it looks like every time that's hitting there, it's topping this off. So I'm not sure how much cobblestone are in those stacks, but they are being relieved of some of their cobblestone each bounce. So it's not the prettiest mechanism, but it works. So we got more redstone, so still not doing great on it, but well enough for me. And now that we've moved, I can put our golems back out. So let's see if he's getting... Oh! And he's already back up. Maybe I shouldn't have put the golem back out. So down to bedrock and no issue. Now I have been having issues where if it drills through part of a lava lake, as soon as it gets past the lava lake to the bottom, lava will flow over it. And if we are somewhere where there is water, that'll turn to cobblestone on the top of the dredge head, the bore head on the dredge. And then when it tries to pull back up, there's now a cobblestone there that it cannot lift because that's a cover, and it cannot break because there's nothing there to break it. It's not a big issue, especially since I have a jetpack I can just go down and fix. But it's, if you're duplicating this in your own world, that sort of bore head, that would be something to be cognizant of. Most bore heads actually just go in one direction and don't reverse, so they don't usually care. But since I'm taking it up and down of its own volition and moving it forward of something else's volition, that's more of an issue for me. So we have that done. So we have that done. It looks like we've lost part of our wall here. So I'm going to show you real fast how I've been dealing with these corrupted blocks. Because if you were trying to place, well, that would work because that actually places it on the frame above it. But if I try to place a stone slab there, it acts as if that block is filled. So there's a block there that is filled but not visible and doesn't have a hit block. So what I've been doing to fix that, I am completely out of cobblestone, is basically I've been putting a block breaker, because block breakers could care less about your hitbox because it just basically goes to your coordinates, and there's another corrupted tile. So put a block breaker down here, and that is corrupted. But that is corrupted, but that one does have a hitbox. I mean, obviously the game thinks something is there, hence the water's not flowing. So, sonic screwdriver, make a lever. Helps if I put them in the right order. So, lever and block breaker basically will destroy any block, ignoring its hardness, ignoring its hitbox. So I can put it here, and sonic screwdriver it facing the right way. Put a lever on top, and activate it, and if there was anything in here, it would be spit out the back. So in theory, I should now be able to just do the same here. Turn it around, lever, and break it, and I just got a panel and probably a frame. Yes, I got a frame right here. So a little bit tedious, but I can do the exact same thing here to get the block that is invisibly here. Okay, now you recognize that you're supposed to go there. Activate, and it spits out another panel and another frame. So I'm going to do that for all of these corrupted blocks here, and check to make sure that now if I were devious, I would check to see if the invisible frames here still count as frames for the purpose of moving these, because I like the look of not covering that up better than I like having to have all these frames here. But I don't know, I don't like trusting glitches quite that much, so I'll probably just go through here and remove all of these corrupted blocks. So it looks like everything from here. Actually, let's just make sure that, yeah, that my steam boiler didn't get reset back down to 0 temperature, which would suck. So I'm going to go off camera and break all of these blocks now that I've shown you how I've been doing it. And I will get back with you once I've gotten those broken and then replaced. And one last thing that I want to actually get started on this episode is that I would like to get started on my pilot house, which is going to be where I have my controls, my bed, my portal to my nexus in the nether, and all of that. Basically, it's meant to be my command center. Now, that's going to be a little bit of an accomplishment because I'm going to want to eventually control as much as I can. My motor down there, my dredge back here, and everything from my command center up here in the pilot house, or the bridge, or whatever you want to call it. So to do that, I'm going to have a lot of wiring and some way of communicating. But for now, I'm just worried about getting the structure built. So I'm going to tentatively start it pretty cleanly here and work on maybe getting I'm not entirely sure the exact dimensions. I'll probably move some of this around. But I want it to be big enough that it feels like it's its own thing. That it doesn't feel like... Not sure why I'm diving after that. I can make more pretty easily. I just haven't. So I'm going to work on it, on that here being my corners. And I'll move my bed around. I mean, it's not like my bed doesn't get broken for the purposes of Minecraft every time I move the boat anyway. And let's see. But yes, I'll just laying out what I'm planning on it for now. Don't quite have enough frames, but I wanted to at least get used to the idea of this being blocked off. I mean, a lot of this is mostly just in my head, so that I can get used to the idea of, for example, this being a magic room that I just can't pop up out of the ceiling with my jetpack at will anymore. Or this being the steam engine, that being, and so forth. So I'm going to have a walkway through here, and may have some other use for this right here. But this is going to be the beginnings of my command module, or bridge, or pilot house. And I'll probably clean it up a little bit between now and the next episode. But wanted to at least show you what I'm moving ahead on, since a lot of this is, as I keep saying, it's just a giant work in progress. Did you go downstairs for chicken eggs again? So yeah, I think my wood golem is still somehow finding a way down here. But I've got the dredge expanded. Not the most exciting thing in the world, but I'm pretty confident that that's going to increase both my productivity when it comes to me getting more resources per cycle of move boat forward slash slash dredge, and I'm hoping to eventually somewhat automate that. So, well, I'm gonna rescue this little wayward golem, and I will see you next time. Take care. And as a side note, I believe I've noticed a pattern to all of my corrupted blocks that have been corrupted in exactly this manner. I believe that it has to do with the fact that that whenever a railcraft block moves forward, for some reason, it is not really it's not freeing up its previous space in the manner that redstone is expecting. So when a railcraft block moves forward and a redstone block, such as a frame, is immediately in that position, then it has trouble. This got fixed and then it corrupted again, but this is exactly 5 blocks after the steam turbine here. And if we go to the railcraft boiler there, within the last 5 blocks that it had existed in, all of the frames were corrupted there. And I'm not sure if this is still recording for you, but my client just crashed. So if I really knew who to submit this bug to, because it's an interaction between Redstone and Railcraft, or Redstone and possibly Buildcraft, then I would. So, but since this has happened while I was recording, I recorded it and will put this on the end of my episode. So hopefully someone who knows the proper way to submit this issue, I can do so too. And seriously, hopefully this is the end of the episode this time, but thank you very much, and see you next time.